back to another edition of Lumberjack Flashback. Today we have a big group of people, a lot larger than some of the other interviews we've done so far. Did the 2014 and 2015 NAU men's basketball team. Obviously, this team's pretty well known. It went to the CIT finals following a pretty good run during the conference and conference tournament. How's everyone doing? All good?
Good.
Everyone's good.
So we'll jump right into this. We're going to kind of go through a lot of the season into the CIT leading into that, and then we'll kind of highlight some of those games specifically. Just to start off, Dalen, obviously this was your fifth year, I think, in the program at the time, and there's a big difference between where you were in this season and where you were the season before, and even a couple of years back. So going into the 2014-15 season, how did you feel this team was positioned to compete in conference?
I thought we were ready. Honestly, we had a lot of guys coming back. We had everybody coming back. I think. I'm not even sure if we lost anybody the year before that. Because that was the year we added Q, Asim.
Max.
I think. Oh yeah, we had Max leave, but we have Chris. I think we were ready. We thought we should have won that game against Northern Colorado at Weber State. I got hurt. I'm not saying I'm a big factor, but I got hurt and we were down big. And guys came out of halftime and they fought back. They fought back and they showed their resilience. And I thought we're gonna be good next year. And I think that summer we kind of showed it to each other. I think we had the opportunity to go to the Bahamas, give us 10 days of practice. And then we was in the gym every day. I think nobody went home that summer. We was in the gym every day, working out or playing. So I thought we was gonna be good. And sure enough,
we were in the gym too much.
Yeah, we probably were in the gym too much.
For you, Q, you came in the year before, like G just mentioned, and this was going to be your senior year. Did you feel there was any extra pressure or anything like that? As we kind of always ask you about going into your senior year and wanting a big impression.
Honestly, not really, man. I just wanted to win. I don't think it was pressure, just because, honestly, the year before, we went to the conference tournament, got knocked out in the first round. Even though we was bringing everybody back, it was still Sac State still had McKinney and Dylan Garrity, and Eastern Washington had Tyler Harvey. So it wasn't like we were just a shoo-in to win the whole conference. So I don't think it was any pressure. We was pretty much playing with house money, and but I think it worked out well. Obviously, I'm like, gee, I think we should have won the whole thing, but I guess it's a story for another day.
We'll get into that a little bit, and all of you guys are free to chime in here. Last game of the regular season, I think there's a victory there, and then it kind of leads into the conference tournament. How were you guys feeling getting into the Big Sky
tournament? I'll comment on it, but I think we were the last few games before conference. I think we had pretty much one bad loss. Besides that, I think we were, heading in the right direction, and we were on a roll. And if I remember correctly, we were probably the one team nobody wanted to match up with in the tournament, 100%. Because, I think everything was clicking in the right spots for us. Everyone knew the role. Everyone was playing well. So I feel like nobody wanted to play us in the tournament. And, you know what I mean? We were probably the hottest team at the moment.
We had a game where, we was right there. We would have beat Northern Colorado on the road. I think we would have had the number one seed. We would have hosted the conference tournament. And, we went out there and we lost that game. And,
that one in the Idaho State.
Idaho State, yeah.
Those two games.
Is that the same trip?
Two
different trips.
No, different trips. The Idaho State one and the Northern Colorado one. If we won those, we would have been number one.
If we win either one of those games, we don't even have to win both of them. I feel like we win either one of those games, we host the conference tournament. And then I think, obviously, if we would have hosted the conference tournament, I think we would have won the whole thing. We took Montana to the wire at Montana. We probably should have won that game too, but
I don't know if that one's supposed to be spoken about.
We'll jump into it really quick.
Honestly, but I feel like that's a big part of the story, man. We should have won the game. You know what I'm saying? If we would have won the game, a lot of that stuff happened after the game. If we would have won the game, none of that would have happened.
For anyone who doesn't know, obviously, in the Big Sky Conference semifinals, it became kind of a national story to an extent. I, at the time, was the beat reporter and screen capped it. And it went viral a little bit, got picked up by a couple major outlets. as Montana hit a game go-ahead basket, members of their team left the area where they're supposed to be. And
they're slipping sliding. Slipping sliding on the court.
My man dove into first base with that one. Home plate.
And play was stopped, and it was now a technical foul, and kind of the game ended from there because there was only a split second or whatever left, and obviously ended you guys' run the Big Sky tournament. I mean, at the time of that loss, I know that has to be kind of disappointing. If you guys kind of all want to go around and just kind of share your feelings at the moment of that game, maybe not so much the finish itself, but the thought that maybe the season's over, or more importantly, that the main goal of the year was kind of done.
I mean, I go first. I mean, I think after we lost, I was honestly, man, I think I was just done with basketball for a while. Like, I just didn't. I mean, the way the game ended, it kind of was just like, you know what, man, I just need a break, honestly, just because we played so hard. We fought like tooth and nail. I mean, and honestly, like, I feel like if we win that game, we would have had no problem beating Eastern Washington in the final, like, at all. But I think just like right after you're sad, you kind of know it's over. Like, we all wanted to go to the tournament. Me personally, like in my 4 years, I'd never been to the national tournament. So I mean, that was one of the goals, and we couldn't accomplish it. So like, obviously, like, you're kind of sad, but I mean, at the same time, like, you kind of like reflect on just the season. It was such a great time. I think we had such a good bond both on and off the court. It kind of like, I'm saying, softened the blow, just the season being over.
Yeah, I mean, one thing with that game though is, you know what I mean, whether it should have been a technical or not, you know what I mean? It's not saying we're going to win or lose the game because of that. I mean, that's not the case, but just the fact that the way it ended and we didn't get a chance to, you know what I mean, go into overtime. I think that was the one frustrating thing about that. And another thing is, like Q said, after that game, none of you guys probably know this, but after that game, we had an idea we were going to get invited to the CIT, and I don't think that one player on the team wanted to play. When we found out, we were in Phoenix, where we at Mike Dunn's house, and Coach Murphy called us like, "Hey, you guys want to play?" And everybody was like, "Chris, tell him no. Chris, tell him no." They wanted me to be the one to tell Coach like, "Hey, none of us want to play," because just the way that game ended, everybody was drained out. They're like, "We've had a long year. We don't want to play in the CIT. We wanted to play in the tournament, and it didn't happen. So it's all right. Then we're done with this." You know what I mean? Literally, none of us wanted to play in that thing. And, I mean, it kind of worked out to be the best. But, with the way we lost in the tournament and everything like that, I think it was a nice bounce back.
Yeah, we was all done. Murph called a meeting, I think, after our first practice and asked us to truthfully say if we wanted to play. And the only person that raised his hand when he said who didn't want to play was Chris. And 'cause all of us was afraid of what would happen if we would have said no. And but after that first game, I think we was all checked out. But after we beat GCU, I think all of us was happy that we actually did continue playing.
Yeah. So Jordan.
Yeah, I got it. For me, I mean, after the loss, obviously senior year, and like you said, you just kind of like, man, like, you really don't want to play anymore. You're just like ready to move on and just be done with it. And you kind of sit there and you're like, what if? And then you're just like, it is what it is. Like, you can't win, can't go back, take it back. And then, and like Chris said, it was, and Q said, it was a great year for us. I mean, as a team, I thought we were as close as we had been in years. And it was just like, let's celebrate the year, and like Chris and them said, we were all in Phoenix. Like, we called Mike Dunn, and I was like, "Oh, can we crash at your crib?" We were all in his house. We wake up, Coach calls, and he's like, "You guys that come up, we're gonna have a meeting." He's like, "We're probably gonna play," and we're like, "Oh no, like, we don't want to play." We're kind of done with it. Our expectation was winning the Big Sky tournament, going to NCAA tournament, and it was either that or bust. And like Akko said, we were all sitting on the floor on the dome, and I remember it like it was yesterday. And Coach asked us, and we're all. And Chris raised his hand, and everybody was kind of like, "No, not really." But then I told Coach, I said, "Coach," I was like, "At the end of the day, we play basketball. That's what we do. We hooping, and if we're gonna do it, then let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, let's not just do it. Just be like, oh, we're in the CIT. Like, let's try to win it." And I think everybody, like Akko said, like once we went to GCU and we got it done there, because, I mean, that's not an easy place to win. And that crowd was crazy. And once we got it done there, and we didn't have Murph as our coach at the time because of everything that happened before, I mean, winning that game, it was like, okay, we on now. So I think that was good, and it ended up being fun. And obviously that didn't end the way we wanted, but it was still fun. You know, one of 2 teams or 4 teams playing in April. Like, it don't get no better than that.
I'll make Jordan jump in now. For that game, Jordan, you have a double-double in that game. I believe 10 points and 14 rebounds. I think it was the first double-double of your career. Just kind of going into that atmosphere, like they mentioned, of playing kind of in front of a crazy crowd. What was that like? It's probably one of the bigger crowds I'm assuming you guys played in front of during most of the season.
Until we played the last 2 games in the dome.
I was going to get to that.
Talking about GCU?
Yeah.
About GCU.
Yeah, that game was definitely crazy. We didn't have Murph, like G said. So we kind of all had to like rally together to get that win. But I had a lot of family there because I'm from Arizona. So it was definitely like a nice cherry on top to have like my family there.
I mean, kind of leading into that game and jumping, because we're going to spend a lot of time on the 2 home games. Coming off of that GCU game, for me, again, for you, Jordan, I think it's 27 points and 6 rebounds. I mean, the game is just unbelievable. Was there anything that kind of got you to this point of playing, some of the best basketball of your career?
I don't really know.
Having a great point guard.
You were Chris was giving me the ball a lot. And
Having a great point guard.
just clicking for me, I guess. Yeah, I had a great team around me.
All right, Chris, if you want to comment on Jordan's performance, then you can comment on it since you were the point guard.
Yeah, he's a little scared to talk, so we'll talk for Jordan. But I think Jordan, towards the end of the year, he started getting more confident with the way he wanted to play, and he was starting to come into like, hey, I'm a good basketball player. You know what I mean? I did all the little things throughout the year, but towards the end of the year, he started doing more as far as scoring. You know what I mean? He's always in the right spot on defense, but he started, you know what I mean, being more aggressive on the glass. He started finishing everything around the basket. He started, pretty much asserting his will in the paint. And, you know what I mean, that's what we needed from Jordan. And I think that was a big part of our run. He's too shy to comment on it himself. So, you know what I mean, we can gas him up a little bit ourselves. But, Jordan was a huge part. He was doing all the little things. And, you know what I mean, I think the Sacramento State game, you tell me, the stats better than anyone else. You know what I mean? He had a big game at Sac State, and everything else. I mean, was
27
part of our big run.
27.
Oh no, that part. You can comment on that, can't you?
Jordan was killing. I forgot what game it was. It was one game. I think I just shot a bad shot. Right? Jordan had somebody in the post. He's like, "Bro, give me the ball." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, bro."
Yeah, I remember.
I honestly didn't mean to shoot that. I didn't think he wanted it, so I just shot it. You know what I'm saying? He's like, "Yo, give me the ball." I said, "Okay, bro. Next time I'll give you the ball, bro."
For that Sac State game, I think you were trailing by around 5 with 5 minutes remaining in that game, and I think that's one of the multiple times that Q went on a kind of a scoring run. I think he scored 8 straight points to take the lead in that game. Were you? I mean, having played there, I guess in your careers, I'm assuming during that season too, was playing at Sac State pretty comfortable late, just because it's a place you guys have known before?
I don't know. I mean, I think anywhere was comfortable. I didn't think Sac State was good, so it didn't matter to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest with you. I think they had good players, but I didn't think they was like, you know what I'm saying? Like I got a lot of respect for like McKinney, and I think the dude name was Justin Strings and stuff like that. Like, so it was people on the team that I have respect for, but I don't think any place was hard to play. Like, I mean, yeah, nah. We beat them on senior night in Flag, and I think we lost there when we went there at the beginning of the season to start conference. We lost, but I don't think Sac State was ever like, I mean, to me, I don't think there ever was really a threat, Like if you stop McKinney, you stop their whole thing. So I think we were all super comfortable. And I think we were all super confident too. Like, you know what I'm saying? We already knew these guys. We didn't play. They pretty much had the same team from when we were juniors and Chris was a freshman and all that kind of stuff. They pretty much run the same team back the next year as well. So like we already knew who they were and what they wanted to do at that particular point in time. We was just going out there and just playing. So
after the Sac State victory, you guys, you guys can kind of go around and jump in as you want. When did you find out you guys were going to be able to play a home game? After you played 2 on the road, the way the CIT works, it's kind of obvious that you're probably going to get to host one eventually. But when did you really find out that there was a good shot you guys could be able to get back in the dome?
When the boosters started showing up, when they started, coming to those practices and having little meetings on the side, we were like, okay, we're gonna end up hosting one of these things. And I think Murphy told us too. So I think that's what it was. He said that if we win our first two, there's gonna be a big possibility that we're gonna get to host one. And I didn't expect to host the second one, and I thought someone was talking about we're gonna host the championship game too at one point, from what I remember. So they kind of kept us in the loop about that, though.
Yeah, I would say Murph was pretty transparent with us as a team. Like, hey, if we win two, we're more than likely going to host one. And then I think he told us, I didn't think we would host two because I think who was first, NJIT or Kent State?
NJIT, I think.
Kent State was first.
Yeah, Kent State was first, and then NJIT was the semifinals.
Yeah, because when we beat Kent State, they were saying we were probably going to go to Buffalo or out to NJIT. We were like, oh no, like we were like kind of dreading it, but I think Coach said we got the bid and we were able to host it, so that was good for us. I think good for Flagstaff, honestly.
So kind of diving into that. Sorry, go ahead.
Out of my 3 years at NAU, I think that year was like the most pretty much energy towards the basketball program, though, especially around that CIT tournament. It's like, we'd walk around town and like people would actually be like, engaged. Hey, good luck at the games and stuff like that. That my sophomore year was, the incredible energy from Flagstaff. And then even leading into, my junior year, me and Akko, Jordan was still there, so we could comment. But from our first 2 years, it was a different energy as far as, people engaging with the basketball team because of, what that team from 2014 did.
When you guys get on the court for that game and the crowd has the energy going around with it, did you expect a crowd, that big for 2 games, or did it kind of catch you off guard?
No, it caught us off guard 100%. I mean, 100%. Because what were we averaging? The pretty much conference, even against like the Montanas and the Weber States, we'd have a good crowd. But the fact that people were spilling off into the dome where, they're not even like directly in front of the court, the people are sitting in the corner of the dome to watch, and they have to bring in extra seating or whatever. People are sitting in areas that don't have a good angle of the court just because they want to be in there. And I think, I don't think any of us expected that, just because we had no reason to, we knew what the turnout was for most of the year, and then randomly, it turned into a little show. So it was fun.
All right, so kind of getting into the Kansas a little bit more, specifically. That was a close game throughout. It was back and forth. Did you, going into that game, Kent State, I know statistically, was probably one of the higher rated opponents you guys have played all year, especially since non-conference. Anything, was there any sense of that was the opportunity to come to the point? Having played GCU, played Sac State, and they're kind of more regional opponents is one thing, but beginning to play, a 5, type school, did that kind of have any impact on any of you guys?
I don't think it really mattered, honestly. Once we found out who we was playing, it was just like, all right, like at that point, it's late in the year. Everybody you face is going to be good. So, I don't think nobody was like nervous or scared or we were like flinching or anything like that. It was just like, let's just get to it. I think, like I said, that late in the year, everybody's good because you're still playing for a reason. So, I think we all knew that we were good as well. So it's like, all right, give us your best shot. And then we were playing in flag, so we're comfortable playing in flag as well. So I think that played a little bit of a part in it too. So, I think we were just ready to get after it, to be honest with you. At that point, we were trying, I think after we won the first 2 games, we're about to host this third one. At this point, everybody's like, yo, let's go ahead and win this whole thing. Like, if we're going to do it, at this point, we didn't miss spring break. Like, yo, let's just go ahead and win the whole thing, kind of. And I think that's kind of everybody's mentality. Like, if we're going to be here, let's just do it. So I think that's kind of how we went to that game. Like, let's just get it done.
You feel like you just switched kind of at that from that point on to where you guys have been, like you all mentioned, you're kind of apprehensive about playing in the tournament to begin with, but once you get to quarterfinals like that, do you feel like everyone was more invested again?
Yeah, I think mean, I think after we beat GCU, I think it kind of like started changing a little bit. Then we went to Sac State and we won, and the way we won, you know what I'm saying, like being down, coming back, beating them. And I think after that, everybody was kind of like, okay, look, man, we can really do this. Like, let's go ahead and win the whole thing. And like, I just think like at that point, like I said, I think we just all kind of came to the agreement, like, yo, look, if we're gonna do it, let's just do it, you know. And I mean, we didn't win it all, but I mean, we went as far as we could, though.
Yeah, I just remember that year we used to have some of, in my experience, the best locker room meetings as a team. And Q and Galen were very vocal. So I think a lot of us looked at them as a leadership figure and people we looked up to onto the team. So once they were vocal and very adamant of, yo, we gonna start winning this whole entire thing, that's where I know me especially, I was like, yeah, you guys right. We let's go get them. So I don't know. I feel like everybody else was like that when they was, yeah, let's go get it right now.
So, I mean, the Kent State game kind of goes down to the wire. I'm pretty sure I think Q put the team ahead with a dunk with around a minute or 2 minutes left. But Kent State responded with a three, and you guys got down by one. I mean, it's a very specific memory, but does anyone kind of remember anything about those last kind of moments when you were down by 1 point and needing to tie or get a basket to go ahead?
That's the dude on Kent State. They were ahead and they could have dribbled out the time, and that was a bonehead play. He went up, tried to score, and Len blocked it. That's the play. From what I remember, you know what I mean? They had the ball. They were on a breakaway, and he decides to try to go for a layup or a dunk instead of just dribbling out the clock, and Len blocked it. And I think that's what led to the dunk to put us ahead. So that was probably the only thing I really remember from that game is, you know what I mean? We capitalized on a mistake that they made, and you know what I mean? Len and Q made a great play.
I thought he was going to pull up from the mid-range, which made my heart drop because that would have been a wide-open shot. And instead, he attacked Len, and I think Len was one of the best shot blockers in the country. So as soon as he attacked Len, I was like, oh, you dumb. So why would you go attack? I don't even attack Len like that in practice. And let alone you going to do it into a game. And then once he threw it up to Q, I was like, oh, that's done. I was like, you're not going – why would you do that? Don't do that.
Yeah, I think for me, like, I mean, it was like obviously it was back and forth. I think we was in our press, and they kind of beat it, you know. I mean, honestly, like if I was him, I probably would have went for a layup too. But you know, but Len blocked it, and I got the ball. And honestly, when I got the ball, I was looking for Chris because like up until that point, like man, I had been playing terrible. Like I wasn't making any shots. I was airballing. Like I was having a terrible game. So as soon as I got the rebound, I was like, oh shoot, I was looking for Chris, but. Like, Chris was, like, on the opposite side of the court. There was no way I could get him the ball. And I was like, all right, well, like, let me just go. And, you know what I mean? I just ended up getting all the way to the basket. But, like, my initial thought was like, yo, let me get it to Chris. And I think I was talking to G about it. And I think G saw me look. I was looking for, like, if you watch the tape, I get the rebound. And I kind of started looking around. I'm like, oh. And then I just took off. And I thought Murph was going to call a timeout. But, I mean, that didn't happen either. So, I mean, at that point, man, it was like, I'm going to try to get all the way to the basket. And if I can't, then I don't know what's going to happen after that. So, it kind of just worked out.
All right. So, I mean, you know, when you guys do win that game, everyone kind of pours out onto the court. Did that catch everyone by surprise that everyone poured onto the court to celebrate? Or you kind of just turn around and there's just people all over the place?
I was surprised. You never being part of a court rushing like that. I mean, all the people that were there. I mean, it was something special, and it's like something you'll never forget. You know, it's a picture on the background of my laptop. You know that the guys always see when we go into film and stuff. When I'm about to deliver a scout or something, and coach always mentions it. Like, we got to get back to this. We got to get back to this. And it's something like, man, it was one of the best things ever. Like you don't expect it, but when it happens, you're like, oh yeah. Like we doing something here now.
Yeah, my first thought when it happened was like we didn't even win the championship yet. You know, what are you guys doing running out to the court? And then after that first thought, oh, what the hell's going on? And then you're like, you start to embrace it. But that first one is like, come on, man, we didn't even win anything yet. I was like, it's the semis or the quarters or whatever it was. And I was like, you guys are celebrating. I'm like, but you know what I mean? It was probably fun for both parties, you know, the fans that got to experience that, and then the players, obviously, not too many times. I mean, you know what I mean? Q's got the chance to play overseas, Galen and all them, and Akko's been, you know, playing different places, and you know what I mean? You're never gonna get that experience again. You know what I mean? No matter where you go, you know, college basketball is a completely different animal. So it's fun.
Yeah, when it first happened, because usually after a game like that, you know, you celebrate with your team. You know, we're all hyped with each other. Then all the crowd started running on, and I didn't move because I don't know, a lot of people know, but I was sick, like throwing up. I had a rag over my shoulders. I couldn't even move really, and I was about to, you know, go give my teammates high fives, and all of a sudden I see these other people run onto the court, and I was like, nah, hey, I'm gonna cheer from over here on the sideline and let them all have it, because I knew as minute as somebody hit me, I was going to throw up on them, and that probably would have ruined the whole entire crowd.
Hey, the coaches were waiting for us to get back into the locker room for a while that game. People were soaking it in. They were in there waiting like, hey, where's Chris at? Oh, Chris is still with the crowd. You know what I mean? Like, go get Chris into the locker room.
Wasn't Seam sitting on top of the score table holding it like?
Yes, Seam was holding
I forgot about that.
the piece of wood on top of the scoreboard.
Oh.
The picture that still lives around our athletic department is indeed a Seam holding up the cookie with the final score of the game. It's kind of, which again, as you guys going to point out, it was only the quarterfinal game, but that's where that photo does come from. So again, before we move on, I will point out for Jordan that again, I think he went 15 and 14 against Kent State for his his second double-double of the tournament. To get, again, be a pretty influential point of that. And kind of building on that, between, you know, Jordan and Akko and Len and a lot of different guys, Kent State, and as we're going to get into in JIT, I believe rebounding-wise really did help lead to both those victories. I think you guys won on the boards both times. How helpful was you just having that advantage, it seems, against those two teams to win these two home games?
I think that rebounding, like we focused on rebounding so much that year. Like we did so many drills for rebounding. So that was for sure instilled in us to just focus on the glass. So
I mean, it was Q and Seam, shoot your threes. Chris, go to the basket, try to draw a foul. If you miss it, someone's gonna be there to clean it up. That was our motto. I mean, towards the end of the year, we weren't even running offense anymore. It was either a high pick and roll with Jordan and Len, or Akko and G just shaking up, and then Seam and Q in the corners, you know what I mean, getting ready to shoot. That's all we ran, and there was no reason to do anything else. I mean, everything was working. Everybody knew their roles, and everyone was making plays at the right spot. So there was no reason to run an offense. It was let Jordan, Len, Akko, all those guys clean up the glass, and then me, Seam, Q, Galen, you know what I mean, make plays from the top. So it worked out.
For G, you know, we talk about the court storming, and they stormed the court again after the NJIT win, but just kind of thinking back to 2011, 2012, did you ever, in your wildest imagination, imagine a scenario where people would be storming the court in Flagstaff after a victory, coming from what the team had been just a couple of years before?
Nah, never, not really, man. I mean, even then, you know, we had a tough season and it was a lot going on, you know, losing the coach, interim coach, hiring a new coach. I mean, just a lot going on, but never did I feel that we weren't going to be good at any point. I thought, you know, we had the right foundation and we were headed in the right direction. Cause I mean, even that year, I mean, you did the interview with Stalin. I mean, we won big games in the beginning. Like we beat Bakersfield right before we played ASU, I believe, like that year. Like I felt like we were on a good track. We always had that foundation, but you know, sometimes you just kind of never know. Like it's just like college basketball. Like, and then, you know, back then, like Montana's and Weber's ran the league. You know, Damian Lillard was still in the league. You know, Montana had guys, what's his name, Kareem and Will Cherry and those guys. But I think, you know, as you know, those guys like Gabe and them left, and it kind of left that foundation. And you know, and like I've said in interviews with you, I think is like, you know, you kind of know how to lose, you know, like, and I've said it before, like, what does that mean? But it's like, I think after a while, like, Coach Murph brings in guys like Q, Jordan, Chris, Akko, like all these guys, Lynn, and you start building a foundation and trying to instill in them like we could do something special here. And I think guys really just latched onto that. But I never thought just being around like that would ever happen, like a court storming or even just looking like you said, like coming out, like you hear Coach Murph like, yeah, is everybody in Flagstaff is going to be here? You're like, nah, no, they're not. Like it'll probably be like the first couple rows and like maybe a little bit up and people scattered, like because that's what like most games to us that were packed were like that, like people scattered in those first rows and up some. But I mean, to come out after like the 10-minute mark or whatever, we went in and came back out, like Chris said, you got people up by the offices in the corner. You're like, can they even see? So, I mean, to see that was something special, and just having Flagstaff around us was something special. And it's something that, like Burkhart says all the time, like the town is just ready to explode, and I think if we can get back to winning, not to get into this year, but and the years to follow, but if we can get back into winning, like people want to follow something like that and success. So it was good to see, but never did I think it would be like that. So, yeah.
Get into the NJIT game specifically. You guys are down by double digits in the second half of that game. I mean, at that point, the season's looking like it might be over. Obviously, you're one game off the finals. How much do you guys remember about kind of the comeback? I think there's about a 15-2 run in the second half that you guys go on to come back and actually get back ahead in that game with about 3 or 4 minutes left.
I think, like, if you just look at it, like, the games leading up to the NJIT game, we were down in every single game. I mean, and we always made a run in the second half. So I think when it got to that point, when it got to the NJIT game, it's like, what I'm saying? I was kind of like, all right, we're going to make a run sooner or later. We just got to, what I'm saying? We just got to figure it out. And eventually it came, what I'm saying? But for, my own intrinsic motivation was like, I mean, like, I had a tough week, that first week of the CIT. So, like, by the time we got to NJIT, I'm like, man, no, I'm not about to lose now. Like, Like, I was with my family, had to come back, a whole bunch of traveling and stuff like that. I'm battling a lot of emotion. I was like, I'm not about to go out like this. And me personally, I didn't think NJIT was that good anyway. I was like, I mean, if we would have lost to Kent State, that would have been a different story. But, like, I'm not about to lose to these guys, And that kind of just, like, for me, I mean, that was my whole motivation through that rest of the game. But like I said, like, leading up to that game, we made a run in the second half of every single game we played in the CIT. It's just kind of how we were just rolling. And so, like, eventually I knew we were going to make a run, but I was just hoping that we kept it close, that when we made our run, that we was able to take the lead. And, like, that's what kind of happened.
There's a run there in that where I think for about 2 minutes, you guys are up by 1, but no one's scoring. How tense was it just to kind of in the final moments for I guess everyone who was on the court?
I mean, I think like I don't think like scoring, I don't think we were really worried about that. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, like, I think like we were really good defensively. Like throughout the whole year, like we were a really good defensive team. So, like, I mean, if we weren't scoring, like, I knew they weren't gonna come down and score on us. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, if we could keep it like this, I mean, we'll be fine. But like I said, like, so we were pretty good defensively all year. So I wasn't necessarily worried. Like, I don't think it was really tense. I mean, at this point, like, I mean, like I said, we're playing with house money, and we rolling, we're confident. And, like, honestly, I mean, at the end of the day, like, whenever it got down to it, like, it's like if we needed a defensive stop, it's like, okay, I know we're gonna lock in and get it. Like, if we need a basket, I knew Chris was gonna make a play and figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got it in the back of your mind. It's like, okay, like, oh man, it's like, I mean, like, if I don't go for this rebound, I know like G or Jordan or Akko or Lynn gonna go get it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it was really tense. I think we were all just comfortable with each other, and we knew, like, at the end of the day, like, we was gonna do what was necessary to get the win.
Anybody else want to jump in on that game at all?
Yeah, I would say this, and like you said, and it's not so much that game in particular, but I think it was just the year collectively. It's like, I don't think we ever went into a game and we're like, we don't have a chance. Like, I think we went into every game like, we can win. Like, we gonna beat these dudes. Like, and it's not saying like we were cocky or anything like that. We just we just knew what we had around us. We trusted everybody. And I think in that game, like you said, like we've been here before. Like, we've been here before. Like we know we can guard. We know we rebound. We were the number one. I think we were the number one rebounding team in the Big Sky. Like, one of the top in the country. Defensively, we played in like some grinder games. I think earlier that year in I think that was the tournament in Florida. We played North Carolina Central. I think the game, like, if you go back and look, like Coach West talks about, he's like, man, I go back and watch that game all the time. Like, that was a defensive game. I think the game ended up like 40-something to 40-something, you know, like it was under 50 points. Like, so we were good. And then I think throughout the year, like I said, we just knew like what we were able to do, and we were never like uncomfortable. Like, I think we thought like there's always a chance for us, but we were resilient. Like, we always knew we could bounce back. We always knew it was going to happen. Like, you got guys like Chris, Q, Jordan, Akko. Like, at any moment, those guys can get going, you know, especially Q and Akko. I mean, and Asim, and then you got Chris that gets to the free throw line whenever he wants, you know. So I don't think there was ever a worry. And, you know, you got guys that come, like Chris has been saying, that you got guys that come in and fill their spots, you know, like Akko comes in, he can get buckets. Jordan, he's playing with all-time high of confidence. You know, you got Lynn playing with confidence, doing things that we probably ain't seen Lynn do all year, you know. So it was just a collective thing from everybody, I think.
I think another thing was how Q said, though, we got comfortable playing from behind. I think that in the tournament specifically, that was a big part. I think, you know what I mean? It was kind of like, all right, guys, like it was a script. Okay, first few minutes, we're going to start out slow. We're going to put ourselves in a hole, but we're for sure going to dig ourselves out of the hole. And when we do dig the hole, you know what I mean? It's 50-50 from there. I think, you know, every game it turned into that where, you know, we were, okay, down, you know, start off slow out the gates. At the end of the first half, go in the locker room, get chewed out, and then come out second half, and then, you know what I mean, start, you know, turning it up a little bit. And, you know, everybody kind of was comfortable in that situation where, like, hey, we're not worried about the score right now, but, you know what I mean, no matter what, we're going to dig ourselves out of the hole eventually.
Obviously, from there, I mean, the CIT tournament doesn't end exactly the way you guys kind of wanted it to Evansville. And fall in the title game to them on their court. But just kind of looking at the season overall from a perspective, I mean, how proud, I guess, all of you, we can kind of go around to everybody just of that season as a whole and kind of the experiences that you guys got to have during the year.
I'm for sure proud to be part of that team. I mean, everyone knows like what we did and like what we accomplished. So it's for sure cool just to be like a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Obviously, like you said, it didn't end the way we wanted it to end. But I mean, just overall, man, it was just a great experience, just a great year. And I'm not even like just talking about basketball wise, like just talking about like just from a friendship teammate perspective. Like, I mean, we still are pretty close. Like, you know, talk all the time, hang out with each other. So it's like, and that's with us living in different parts of the country, we still come together and hang out. And I think that was the biggest that's the biggest takeaway from the season for me. It was just like how close we were and how close we got, like that we're lifelong friends, you know what I'm saying? And basketball probably played a major part in that. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know what I'm saying? We're a really tight-knit group, and that's still to this day. So I think that was my biggest takeaway, man. It was a great season. Obviously, if we would have won, that would have been even better. But I mean, we won. I think we won the first postseason game in NAU history. I'm not sure if that's the right record or I don't know, but it was something like that. Man, everybody had like amazing moments throughout the year. Like Chris led the country in free throws. Like Jordan started killing, you know what I'm saying, career highs and stuff like that. I mean, like it was just so many different like individual accolades and team accolades that we had. It was like, man, it was just a special year for all of us.
I mean, I know from I don't know if a lot of people know I wasn't planning on staying at NAU after my freshman year because I started not feeling it. But it was actually the team that, you know, Galen and Q again was like, you're not doing this for the coaches, for Murphy, and you're doing it for us. You know, you're part of our team. And the friendship and letting all of them down and all that stuff is what motivated me to stay in. After the Bahamas, I think we was in a team meeting, and it was just the players in the locker room. And I remember it was the first time that Q really got mad at me because I was on the scout team, but I was killing the starters. And every time that Murph would move me to the starters, I wouldn't shoot the ball. I just pass the ball to Q, I'd pass the ball to Chris, pass the ball to Galen. And Q was like, why are you fine with killing us, but you're not there to help us? And I was like, oh, snap. I was like, whoo, that's not the foot that I want to step off with on Q. And then after that, I started getting comfortable again, and that's what really pushed me that year. And I think it was probably my best shooting percentage-wise that year. So just all around, just being able to play with that team with those players, and arguably the best team that NAU's put together, especially in a while. It's, you know, you can go back to NAU anytime and look up at the banners, and our year's up there in the banners. So for that experience alone, it's just grateful.
That whole year, though, from A to Z, was like because it started in the Bahamas, and before Bahamas, it was, you know, we were practicing because there was no limit on how much you could practice. We were practicing a lot that summer before the Bahamas. They were killing us, and you know what I mean. It started with that grind, and then okay, now go enjoy yourself in the Bahamas, because you know what I mean. When we got to the Bahamas, before Bahamas, it was no games being played. It was 100% serious. When we got to the Bahamas, their like coaches were kind of cool with us. Hey, go enjoy yourselves. You know what I mean? The trips are pretty much for the practices you get beforehand, and I think that contributed to the year we had, because you know we got to practice together, you know, plenty of hours before that, and then that whole ride from A to Z was, you know, really fun. I mean, at one point, Coach Murphy used to say, "Oh, Chris and Q, you guys don't like each other because you guys don't sit next to each other in the locker room." And you know what I mean? It got to the point to the end of the year where me and Q would always sit next to each other in the locker rooms or the meetings, just so Murph could stop saying that. But no, like Q said, I mean, all of us still stay in touch. I mean, Jordan's, you know, 20 minutes away from me. I see Coach all the time, Coach Galen. You know, Akko, I haven't seen in a while, but when I go home to visit my parents, you know, I'm right there by Akko. Q, you know, he comes up to Vegas every once in a while, so we get to see Q all the time and all those other guys. So, I mean, all of us are still in touch, and you know, it was basketball-wise best experience I've had in my life. You know what I mean? As far as a season goes, where you know what I mean, everybody just enjoyed playing with each other, and you know what I mean, that's really special because you don't get that too many times, you know. So just the fact that we did get to, you know, enjoy each other and play with each other and continue to be friends to this day, I think is pretty much probably the best thing you could take away from that year.
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, everybody's pretty much hit it on the head, you know. But I mean, I think like Chris just said, from A to Z, I mean, the whole year was an experience. And one, obviously, you know, there's stuff you don't remember here and there, but I mean, just the highlight of the year is something that you'll never forget. And being around these guys, I mean, I wish everybody could be on here, you know, from A to B, or I mean, A to Z, whatever, you know, like all those guys, 15, 16 guys. I mean, it's different. You know, we all still stay in touch for the most part. I've been in touch with Lynn a lot more lately. You know, all these guys. You know, we talk to, we see each other all the time. Like Q was here 2 months ago. We were hanging out. You know, tried to get Chris and all these guys together, and it's just me and Chris. We play this video game almost every day. You know, like especially since quarantine. You know, and Q's in there sometimes. You know, it's just something you never forget. Like, we'll probably be a part of each other's weddings. You know, if this stuff didn't happen with COVID, we probably would all been at Chris's wedding this year, last month. You know, like that would have been great. But obviously, we got to wait another year to do that. But that's a whole nother story. And when we get to that point, we'll have a lot of fun, I'm sure. But I mean, it was just a highlight, you know, from A to Z, like Chris said, and I'm gonna keep using Chris's saying. You know, it was fun. It was something you'll never forget. And like Akko said, whenever we come back, like we look up there and we did that, you know, like maybe we came up short. Maybe we didn't get, you know, what we wanted out of our goal for the year as far as Big Sky tournament, NCAA tournament. But we left that banner up there and we did some special things, you know, individually and as a team. I think that's the most important thing, you know. First postseason win, you know, regardless of CIT, whatever tournament it is, like first team to do that, first team to play into April at NAU. You know what I mean? Like those are big accomplishments that people, you know, probably are waiting to see again. you know, and we were able to do that. And I think we kind of laid the foundation. Like NAU is the place that you can win at. And obviously there was teams in the past that have done it, but I think right now, you know, it's kind of been like a roller coaster. And I think, you know, that year for us has left a mark at NAU, and I think people are hungry for that again. So, and it was great, you know, and I love seeing all these guys here right now. And I think you can tell, like, it's a different bond right now with us. So.
Awesome. Well, I mean, that's pretty much all the questions I have. So, you know, Jordan, Q, Galen, Chris, Akko, thank you all so much for for coming on and taking the time to talk to us, you know, me for a while on this. And you know, we'll be sure to check in with you all again, you know, hopefully pretty soon.